All right, as most people prepare for the festive season rush, motorists can expect heightened roadblocks and zero-tolerance enforcement from SAPS and traffic departments across the country. While debates about paying outstanding traffic fines often circulate on social media, legal experts emphasize that road safety and drivers' legal rights must go hand in hand. Joining us now is Alta Swanepoel, who's a road traffic legislation expert. Alta, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this morning. So maybe let's just start off with regards to under what legal circumstances can law enforcement officers be authorized to conduct roadblocks, and what evidence should motorists be looking out for in order to verify the legitimacy of such a roadblock?
Officers are entitled to have roadblocks. Traffic officers, by nature of their job, is entitled while they are in uniform to stop somebody and check them. And you get different levels of roadblocks. Some roadblocks are done in terms of South African Police Service rules, where there's a formal roadblock where you will find many vehicles, cones packed out, etc. But you also have officers that are allowed to stop people if they see they're driving unsafely, etc., to stop them under those conditions as well. So generally, even traffic officers are in uniform, it is possible to identify them, then they are entitled to stop vehicles and to have roadblocks and check for valid driving licenses and roadworthy vehicles, etc.
Then what would be the key rights of the drivers at these roadblocks that they should be aware of and that they can exercise respectfully?
One of the things that I get many inquiries on is, unfortunately, you find that many officials, when they do stop a person and they do find that there may be outstanding traffic fines against the vehicle, they tend to tell the person that they have to pay those fines immediately. South Africa does not have a spot fine system. So the only time where you are compelled to pay a fine right there and then, if I can put it like that, is if there's an outstanding warrant out against you as a person. Warrants are issued for people, not for vehicles. Many times you find that traffic officers will tell you, but there's an outstanding warrant for this vehicle. And then they want the person who is driving the vehicle at that time to pay it. That is not legal. Warrants of arrest are for people, they're not for vehicles. And that is basically the only time when you can be compelled to say, we are going to arrest you now because there's an outstanding warrant. It was originally for a speeding fine or whatever. And then normally there's a contempt of court charge with that. Those are the only ones where you are required to pay right away. All other traffic fines that are mailed to you, because 95% of traffic law enforcement, unfortunately, is done by cameras, and they are supposed to mail you a document to say that you have got a traffic fine outstanding. And whether it's the R2 system, which is applicable in Joburg and Tshwane, where they've got 40 days to serve you, and the rest of the country is still criminal procedure, there they have to send you a document that says that you've got the right to pay that fine in 30 days. None of those have the right to detain you together with that. So the most that could happen is they could give you a list next to the road and say, there's these 3 or 4 fines outstanding against your name. You should go and check and see that these fines should be paid. There is no power in the legislation, either under the R2 Act or the Criminal Procedure Act, to be forced to pay those fines immediately.
And is there anything with regards to the powers of impounding a car? What are the motorist's rights in that regard?
Impounding a motor vehicle would normally be if you have an outstanding warrant against your name and they are going to arrest you, then the traffic officer becomes responsible for your vehicle. So they can impound the vehicle. They should take it under their control because they can't leave it there. But that vehicle is normally then impounded simply because they have taken your control of the vehicle away. The Criminal Procedure Act actually has the right of impoundment and seizure for if you are having an object that you're not supposed to have, like a stolen vehicle, or if your vehicle is not registered and licensed and they cannot identify you as the owner of that vehicle, or you are busy committing an offense with that vehicle, then they are allowed to impound the vehicle for those purposes and if they want to keep it for evidence purposes. But generally, when vehicles are impounded, they can be released to the actual owner of the vehicle if that was not the person who was driving it. And it is very seldom necessary to impound a vehicle because generally most of the things people do wrong next to the road would allow an admission of guilt fine to be issued to them, and then it is not necessary to impound a vehicle. Taking a person's driving license is the other problem. You sometimes find that officials stop a person and they just take their driving license. And under those circumstances, you have the same problem. Unless they believe you've got a fraudulent license, which they should arrest you for, because that means you are busy driving with a fraudulent driving license. That is not the case for which you can get a traffic fine. You must be arrested. They are supposed to then charge you for that. But you do find sometimes officials take the license and then they tell the person, you must first pay these fines before we give your license back. There's been numerous cases of that happening over the last few months. None of that is supported by the legislation. And a person they must provide their license so that they can see that you have a driving license that is valid, and they've got the right to demand it immediately. But they must give it back to you. If there's no problem with your license, they must give it back.
So can a motorist refuse to take a breathalyzer? And in instances where they dispute the readings of that breathalyzer, what should they do?
In terms of Section 65 of the Road Traffic Act, you can be either charged for drunken driving via a breath alcohol test or a blood test. And if a driver refuses to take a breath test, then they would normally arrest him and take him to a district surgeon where they would draw blood, which is inevitably a much longer process. So refusing to do a breath test, remember the breath test next to the road is just a screening test. That test is not an official breath test. It is just to give the officer an indication if you have been drinking or not. So if you refuse to do that test, then obviously they are going to form a suspicion that you have been drinking, and they would arrest you and they would take you for a blood test. If you refuse a blood test, our legislation actually, in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act, allows for force to be used to take your blood from you. I have been at roadblocks where that happens. And in general, I would strongly suggest that one does not refuse the blood test because it is possible to take blood from you even if you are not willing. However, obviously, a breath test is not the same. Nobody can force the sufficient air out of your lungs to be able to do the test. However, it is in most cases better to rather do the breath test and see if you are under or over the limit. And obviously, if you are over, then they will arrest you and they will take you to a formal breathalyzer, which is a proper document. It looks like a computer. It's not that little screening device with a little plastic pipe that they use next to the road. It is a proper evidential machine. And there the machine can actually do the test right away. Whereas with blood tests, it sometimes takes a year before you get the results.
We've seen quite a lot of the times where there are interactions between law enforcement officials and motorists that many of the motorists are now resorting to filming some of those occurrences. Is it lawful?
Yes, as long as you are doing filming there next to the road, the process that is happening, there's nothing in our legislation that stops one person from filming another one. And the officer also has no right to take that equipment from you under those circumstances. So as long as you are being respectful, you are not you're not shouting slurs at them and doing stuff like that. There's actually nothing in the legislation that says you are not allowed to film the process. Many people also have dash cams, and so where the feed of that dash cam automatically goes to a cloud. It's not only stored on that specific equipment on the vehicle simply for this reason. We've seen many trucking companies, etc., where they are getting trouble next to the road for things the officers have not done wrong, that they actually have got live systems that they use for this purpose.
Very quickly, Alta, when a driver then feels that their rights have been violated at a roadblock, what's the legal recourse?
Well, if they've been receiving, if they received the ticket, or they were compelled to actually pay a traffic fine, depending on whether it's the R2 system or whether it's the criminal procedure system, the Road Traffic Infringement Authority is the authority where you make representations under the R2 system, or you would have to go to the local prosecutor and deal with the case there, or otherwise go and open a case at the police, depending on what the rights that you feel have been infringed are. I know that some guys have actually charged some of these officers for theft, where they've taken their vehicles' license discs and their driving licenses just in the last few weeks. I opened theft cases against them because they've taken their licenses.
All right. Alta, thank you so much for these insights. I'm sure that many of those that are on the road will certainly take heed with some of what you have said today. That